Welcome to another episode in On Track Parenting. Whether this is your first video or you're a well-worn viewer of the On Track Parenting videos, thank you for taking the time individually as a couple or with a group to focus on your parenting journey. Trust me, the time you're taking to intentionally lean into and learn as a parent will not be in vain. The hard work will pay off in small and big victories. Yes, parenting is work, hard work, and a lot of it. Seriously, being a mother or father is no joke. It is a full-time job. According to the latest data from salary.com, stay-at-home moms could earn upwards of $162,581 per year when you tally up the 96 hours of work per week. And the roles and responsibilities in parenting have diversified beyond cooking, cleaning, driving, and childcare to fields like nutritionist, administrative assistant, academic advisor, and more. Phew, that's tiring just thinking about all of the hats a mom or dad could wear in 1 week, much less one day. So if you think about this heavy load that you as a parent are carrying, whether you're a stay-at-home parent or mixing these roles and responsibilities with part or full-time work, it can be plain old exhausting. When do you get to clock out or take a break from this full-time parenting gig? Well, the reality is that even God took a break after he worked hard to create the world. It says in Genesis 2:2, by the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing, so on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. The tasks add up and could literally never end, from meal planning, cooking, cleaning, diaper changing, homework checking, driving, counseling, and much, much more. The list goes on and on. But that just means you have to be that much more intentional. You have to choose to pause and make pausing and parenting a priority. Hence why you're probably even tuning into this video in the first place. So let's dive right into 5 areas where intentionality to choose to pause is vital. First, pause in the midst of parenting. As we joked earlier, unfortunately you can't just turn it off and not be mom or dad for 24 hours, much less an hour or two. There's no clock out punch card where you just get to turn it in and off. But how do you take an intentional step back to not be in a constant mode of parenting? Let me explain. Now, when I say pause in the midst of parenting, I'm talking about the responsibility of guiding and growing your child with teachable moments. I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and they tease that their classroom extends well beyond the school and well into their homes. The teachable moments with their children are endless, be it in things they are witnessing as they drive around town to nutritional facts over dinner. The life lessons can be everywhere. Now, don't get me wrong, the world is ripe with opportunities to teach, educate, coach, and parent our children in the sense of the word, or even frankly to lecture and lead your children in the way they should go. But never forget that part of that leading is just living life joyfully. That means taking an intentional break from the lessons and lectures for a little while every day, week, or month. So what could this practically look like? One way is to just simply have fun and be silly with your child. Yes, even if you have a teenager, you can be carefree and silly. I remember seeing a viral post of a mom of a teenager who made drop-off fun each morning. She decided to wear a different wig or full-blown costume every morning to drop off. Now, of course, her teenager first rolled his eyes in sheer and utter embarrassment. Seriously mortifying. But eventually, he lightened up and even encouraged and enjoyed the daily goofy rituals, taking selfies with her and posting them himself on his social media, which of course became viral. Now, I'm not saying that you need to invest in silly costumes or find ways to drive your teenager nuts, but I do want to encourage you to let your hair down and just have fun with your child, no matter how young or old they are. Another way to pause in parenting is to focus on one child. As a mama of 4 kids myself, one-on-one time can seem like a rare commodity. But God gave me 4 very unique and wonderfully different children. Psalm 139:14 reminds us that I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Praise God for each fearfully and wonderfully made gift in your life, be it 1 or 6. And each of these gifts desires and needs individual time for each of them. Find what works for you. It may be as simple as a few focused moments to just sit and chat with your child at bedtime in their bedroom. Or it may be as intentional as a vacation with just one child for an adventure of his or her own. No matter what, the fact that you are taking the time to see your child as an individual will mean the world to him or her. And this even goes for only child households. Focused time to hear, learn about, and engage in your child's interests is what it is all about. The second way to pause is to pause for alone time. I don't know about you, but alone time can be a very rare and strange thing, especially when you're parenting little ones. I often tease that my love language used to be physical touch until I had children. Then I would give anything to just have a quiet moment by myself without someone touching me. I mean, there were little hands and bodies on and around me in the kitchen, my bedroom, their bedroom, and yes, even the bathroom. felt like there was nowhere safe or sacred to just be alone. So to pause for alone time may very literally mean physical space alone. Lamentations 3:28 says, "Let him sit alone in silence, for the Lord has laid it on him." There are two keys here. First, a physical space and place alone, whether you escape out of the house or you create a special place in your house that is just for you. It could be as simple as a special chair or a blanket that is yours and yours alone, or that special getaway coffee shop, retail therapy, or massage spa for you to get away and refuel. The second key is silence. This is far too rare in our noise-driven, fast-paced culture. Silence can honestly feel deafeningly overwhelming at first, but fight against the discomfort. Turn off the distractions and noise. Use the silence to remember and reflect on who you are. Yes, again, you will never not be mom or dad, but you likewise do not want to lose your sense of identity. What are your simple joys, likes, passions? What hobbies do you have? Things you like to do for yourself? Now, the goal is not to swing in the opposite direction of selfishness and narcissism, but this is about taking an intentional pause to rest, recover, and remember who you are and what you love. A third area to pause is to pause to prioritize us. Pastor Rick Warren often reminds us that we are better together. We were not meant to live alone or in isolation. So prioritizing us could mean a couple things. First and foremost, if you are married, your marriage may need to be reprioritized over your parenting relationship. That's honestly hard when your children may demand or simply require more attention. But don't lose sight of your marriage. After all, your husband or wife is who you will be with after the kids are long gone, away to college, careers, and their own marriages. Date your spouse. Set aside check-in time. Go to counseling together. Whatever you do, work on your marriage. It is one of the best pauses you can take to invest in one of the greatest gifts you could give your children. Another us to prioritize is your community, your tribe, your village, your people. This may mean your girl or guy friends, or maybe your small group, or even neighborhood connections. Again, we are better together and made to live in community. This can easily be forgotten or pushed to the background in parenting. But Proverbs 17:17 reminds us that a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. Whatever you're facing, joy or sorrow, lean into your community of support. Pause from the busyness of parenting to reach out for prayers, conversation, connection time, rest. They love you and want to support you on your parenting journey. The next pause is to pause in solitude. Now, this is a little different from alone time because solitude is a set-aside time to be alone with God. It is completed by silence. It's a very intentional way to quite literally do nothing. Yes, do nothing. And in doing nothing, you are giving your everything to God. This sounds both amazing and unheard of for you, a parent who lives in a noise-filled, fast-paced, multitasking kind of a world. But think of solitude as a time to steal away and spend time with a friend. For any friendship to grow and deepen, focused time and attention is required. Get to know your best friend God and do as Jesus did in Luke 5:16. Jesus often slipped away to be alone so he could pray. Prayer doesn't have to be anything complicated. It's simply talking with and listening to your best friend. That is where silence is key. We often need to work on the solitude practice of listening. Otherwise, it's easy to do a lot of one-sided talking. When you're fully tuned into God through solitude, you can be restored, re-energized, and refocused in order to best reapproach parenting in a renewed frame of mind. And finally, the last pause is very relevant to the competitive culture of comparison that we live in, and that is to pause on expectations. Now, let me be clear. This doesn't mean you drop any and all expectations of your children or their behavior. It doesn't mean that you now just expect them to exist, and that's sufficient. It does mean you might need to let go of the pressures you're putting on your children to succeed. Stop expecting your kids to be the best and settle for them to give it their best. We all want the best for our children. I know I do, but when is enough enough? Find the balance between challenging your children, but also just accepting them as they are. Now, I wish I had a clear-cut answer as to how to do this, but hopefully you can navigate this as you self-reflect and see the impact on your children. Bottom line, don't be driven by success and excellence to the point that your children are exacerbated. Please also take time to pause on the expectations you put on yourself. I can wholly confess that I struggle in this area to get everything done for my kids and done well and right and excellent. This is an inevitable part of my own childhood, being raised in an overachieving Japanese-American household, transferred into my own expectations for and of myself. But similar to the expectations I place on my children, I can only expect my best, knowing full well that I cannot nor will not be on point for 24 hours a day. Maybe pausing expectations for you as a parent means getting off of social media. It's easy to scroll through everyone's picture-perfect family photos, exotic vacations, and sibling love, only to feel beaten down by your own imperfect family photos, lack thereof vacations, and sibling quarrels. Where are the pictures of disheveled houses, arguing kids, and embarrassing moments? Well, we all know those won't be appearing in your social media feed anytime soon. But don't fall prey to the comparison trap, pining for what everyone else appears to have that you don't. Expect a little less from your parenting to relieve the pressures you're putting on your shoulders as a parent and the shoulders of your children. When you take the time to intentionally pause in these 5 areas, the burden of parenting can become light. And in this pause, you will experience what Matthew 11:28-30 promises. Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light. I hope you can make the choices to pause throughout your days, weeks, months, and years. Now take some time to download the discussion guide for this session to use individually, with your spouse, or in your small group. Enjoy.